What's up, everybody? We're back with another episode. We're the Worldwide Twins. My name is Joshua Ortiz,
And I'm Gabriel Worldwide.
and today we're going to be getting into
It's what to ask the seller when trying to qualify them and disqualifying them. Yes, I said it. Disqualifying sellers.
So if you want to stay tuned for that, we're going to be getting into that in a few seconds, right after this quick introduction. All right, so let's get right into it, Gabe. What are some things that you're going to need to be asking the homeowner, the property owner, land seller, home seller, whatever type of real estate it may be? There's always going to be a few questions that you're going to want to know and have the answers to. If you don't have the answers to these questions, it's going to make it harder to qualify and disqualify somebody. So, Gabe, what are a few things that everybody out there needs to be asking property owners?
Okay, so first things first, before you start talking price, condition, those, you are going to want to make sure you're talking to the right person, the person that does have the decision on selling that property. You're going to want to know everybody involved on it, because in certain situations, there is more than one decision maker. It could be the wife, could be the brother, depends on how the property was passed down, bought, everything like that. So that's going to be the number one thing you're going to want to ask the seller. Who is the decision maker on this property? You can also pull this up by looking at the tax records. And if you see another name on that property, hey, Mr. Seller, I see Mrs. Seller here as well. Is she also looking to sell that property? You're going to want to confirm that they both want to sell the property. Because if one doesn't want to sell it, it's a no-go from 21 Jump Street. Second thing I'm going to want to know is the timeline that they are looking to sell the property while you are on the phone with them. Because if they're not looking to sell until next year when the kids get out of high school and they're looking to downsize, there's really no point of going through a whole 30-minute hour negotiation on the phone right now. Awesome, Mr. Seller. I totally understand you're waiting till next year when the kids get out of school. Is it fine if I check back with you around that time? That's going to be another question, the timeline, because you're either what you want to do is talk to motivated leads who are looking to sell right now.
For sure.
So those are going to be the first two questions that I'm asking these people. Next, I'm going to ask about the condition of the property, if it is a single family house or whatever property it is. You're going to want to know the condition and what similar properties to that one are being bought and sold for in the area. After I ask about the condition, my favorite thing to do is ask the why. That sounds like a great property. Why are you even looking to sell that property? After I get that why, the last question I'm going to ask is the price. And that's how I break down and talk to sellers. And if they meet the criteria of all those, they answer all those confidently, and they're sure looking to sell it, that's the key thing, that they are looking to sell it, not just hear an offer. That's how you talk to a seller, qualify them. And if they don't meet those needs, disqualify them, and maybe check back with them at a later time when they are looking to sell.
All right, so Gabe just went over a few questions that you're going to need to be asking any property owner. Just to recap, he went over any other decision makers that you're going to have on any type of property. So you're going to want to know who has interest in the property. Are there any brothers or sisters or uncles or cousins that are tied to that property? So always going to want to know that question and ask that question and know that answer, because that is going to let you know, do you need to be talking to other people that are associated with the property? So always a good question to ask. You may have one person interested in selling the property, and then everybody else, it may have 5 heirs and they don't want to sell the property. If you don't know what an heir is, it's pretty much somebody who has interest in the property. So if it has 6 heirs, 6 people interested in the property, and only one wants to sell, more than likely it's not going to be a deal, because you're going to need everybody on board to go ahead and close that deal. The next thing that Gabe went into was the timeline. So, how soon is everybody on board? How soon are they trying to sell the property and get this done? If they're trying to sell it in a year and a half or a year, like Gabe said, you can keep them in a follow-up, or you could potentially get the property locked up right now and then just close in that time. But what was that?
Ooh, I like that one. Get it right now.
Yeah, definitely. You can always get it right now. get the property locked up and then just have a closing date set for a year or for 6 months out. You can't have delayed closings, but if they just want to sell in a year and they don't want to get anything under agreement right now, then you're gonna want to just go ahead and follow up with them every month, every maybe 2 weeks, and stay on top of that lead. You don't want that lead or that deal to get away from you because you stop following up with the seller. So always follow up. That's going to be the main thing, especially when people have a longer timeline to sell. The follow-up is going to be key and king in this scenario. So always follow up with your homeowners, your property owners, your landowners, anybody like that. You're going to want to be following up. And whatever timeline that they do give you, always cut that timeline in half. So if they say 4 months, follow up in 2 months, or maybe even a month and a half, and just see what they're doing. And you're always going to want to give them a call. You don't want to lose a deal because you didn't call too much.
For sure. Definitely do like that one. You are always going to want to stay in the face of that seller because you are not the only one calling that person. Mm-hmm. There is many other people that are coming in real estate day in and day out, and they are talking to that same seller. So you want to build great rapport, stand out from the rest, and be genuine and intentional with what you are looking to do with that property.
And the next thing that Gabe went over was the condition. So, knowing the condition about any property, you're going to need to know it, whether it's a big commercial deal or it's just a 500, 600 square foot house, or even if it's land, say you're going to want to at least know the general condition of that property before you go ahead and start running numbers on it and seeing what it's worth, because the condition is going to take a slight effect on how you run the numbers, because some people run their numbers based on cash sales and cash prices, and typically those are going to be, more distressed properties and also, fully fixed up properties. You're going to want to compare that as well. And you're always going to need to know what a house is going to sell for, or a property is going to sell for, in the highest and the best condition and highest and best use if it's land. So always know what a property is fully worth. If I fix everything in this property and make it look sparkling, or if it's just a shit box and it's about to fall apart, you're gonna need to know both prices and what you need to acquire them for. So always asking about the condition, whether it's a house, seeing what needs to be updated, seeing anything, asking, what's really wrong with this property? Is there anything, falling apart? How's the roof? How's the foundation? Is the AC? When was the last time the AC was serviced? And does it need to be repaired? And how does the roof, are the shingles, are they
the plumbing? Yeah.
So you're always going to want to know the plumbing, the electrical, especially on these older houses. And, in the eastern coast, there's a lot of properties over there that, some of them you're going to see that were in the 1890s or early 1900s. So you're going to want to know everything about those older homes. If it's something newer in the past, 30 or 40 years, more than likely if they haven't repaired the property, it's going to need to be, fully repaired, and everything is going to need to be fixed on it. But if it's an older 1905 house, and then you're more than likely going to need to replace the electrical, the plumbing, and, check the foundation. So you're going to need to know all of that on the condition. Yeah. So just touching on that condition, just seeing what general type of condition it is in, and what you need to fix and what needs to be replaced. And is there anything that I can keep on this current property? Because that's going to save you money. The money is made when you buy the property and with your contractor. If you don't buy it at a good price and have a good contractor that's going to help you out, you're more than likely really going to lose money on the deal. So always buying at a good price and having a good contractor on hand is going to save you a lot of money. And the next thing that we're going to go into was the reason and the price. So, the why is going to be one of the biggest reasons why they do want to sell the property. It's pretty much going to be everything. You could have a good, timeline and price, but if they really don't have a good reason to sell the property, sometimes it can be difficult to lock those properties up with the homeowners. But always ask, like Gabe said, it sounds like a great property. Why is you even looking to sell? Or why are you considering selling? It's a beautiful property. You're always going to want to sound confused, sound a little curious, and have that tone in your voice. Because if you sound curious, they're going to they're going to want to tell you more information about it and tell you why. And especially if they have a strong why, they're going to keep going on about it. If their reason why was that they wanted to get closer to their grandkids and to their family, just start talking to them about their family, build that rapport, and they're going to start opening up, more about that. And eventually you're going to know all the family members' names, at least the ones they like and the ones they don't like as well. So always asking why definitely allows them to open up. Gabe, did you have any tips on the reason why?
No, that's a big one. That's big key nuggets. What he's telling you, ask about the family. Ask questions that these other people like yourself are not asking. That is how you're going to stand out, build rapport, earn trust, and close more deals. That's how you do it.
And the last thing that you need to ask the property owner, landowner, land seller, or even homeowner is the price. And you don't want to ask, did you have an asking price in mind, or do you have an asking price? You don't want to ask that question. Gabe, how come they don't want to ask that question?
Because if I ask that question, there's really only two answers that I'm going to get, and I'm not going to get a price from either of those answers. Did you have an asking price in mind? No. What are you offering? Did you have an asking price in mind? Yes. What's your offer?
So they're going to ask you, they're going to tell you one of those two responses. And like Gabe said, you're still not going to have the asking price after you do ask that question. So I take that question completely out of my script, or any questions that I do ask. Gabe, what are some better questions they should be asking the property owners?
What are you looking to walk away with net at closing for this property? Ballpark of what you're looking to walk away with for that property. And Josh's personal favorite, what did you need to walk away with for that property?
Yeah, asking what do you need to walk away with from the property. Depending on the seller, they can, start thinking about it. And like I said, it's always going to depend on their timeline and the reason why. That's usually going to play an effect on, the price. It's like Sean Terry had said before, no motivation, no discount. So if they have no motivation and a strong reason to sell the property, whatever it is, they're not going to give you a discount. They could have a good timeline and maybe they just want to sell it. Gabe, what's the reason they may just want to sell it, but they're not really motivated?
I've been paying taxes on it. It's really not hurting me to keep it.
That's a good one, especially if it's land, because, taxes are typically low.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not really hurting, but if somebody came in and made me a fair offer, I'm looking to sell it. Another one?
Yeah, so, those are a couple things that you need to be looking out for. And so those are kind of the questions that you're going to ask. And you're also going to want to disqualify these sellers as well, because they're going to be a lot of tire kickers depending what type of marketing you're doing. If you're doing texting or cold calling, you may have a lot of people raising their hands saying they do want to sell it and they do want to offer, but they're not actually motivated sellers or actually want to sell the property. They may just be messing with you or toying with you because, you did give them a random call or a random text, and now, they're texting you back, hey, I'll take such and such for the property, or hey, what's your offer? Give me your offer. So especially if you're texting, you're going to want to disqualify as many people as fast as you can, so that you're only talking to true motivated sellers who actually need to sell the property.
I love it.
Okay, so let's also get into and cover what you need to look out for to disqualify a property owner, and key things to listen to, and what you need to be paying attention for. Gabe, what are some things that you hear frequently that property owners say to you when they're not really looking to sell and they're kind of just messing with you? You went over a few right now. Did you have any other ones that you kind of hear a lot, and as soon as you hear that phrase, you already know that they're full of shit and don't want to sell the property?
Well, the one that I could attest for everybody who's been in the game at least 3 months, I'll sell once you pull up with $1 million in a briefcase. A homeowner or a seller that has typically bought or sold property before knows that every property we come across has to go to a title search, because we're going to make sure that the title is clear and we are getting a clear title. So that's going to be the number one thing. I'll sell once you have $1 million cash and meet me up. That's another thing too. A lot of them that are tire kickers, they're gonna want to meet you up, and you don't necessarily have to meet the property owner.
Yeah.
That's gonna be another one. The next one is gonna be, if you once you get to the closing, and you hit them with, you ask the decision maker up front, and then you speak to them, you make them the offer, and now he's saying, I got to run it by my attorney. I have to run it by my wife. Hold on, Mr. Seller. I thought you were the only decision maker on that property. Yeah, well, I still have to talk to the wife. What do you have to talk to the wife about? 9 out of 10 times, it is going to be the price. So you want to uncover that while you are on the phone with that particular person. I know that we're talking right now, but how do you feel about the price that we gave you? Well, I'm actually not looking to be at that price. I'm looking to be here. Mm-hmm. And right then and there, you'll know, okay, maybe I have to come up a little bit if there's enough spread, or maybe it's not going to work anymore. And you could still make the offer, but there's a chance that they're not going to sell. So what you might have to do is try another approach. You might have to, come with another strategy, maybe refer it to a realtor, or see if they know anybody, or have another property that they're looking to sell that they're more realistic to selling you. So that's, the other one. I have to talk to somebody.
I wouldn't always say that's a reason to disqualify somebody.
For sure.
Sometimes they do have to talk to their wife,
Yes.
or do have to run it by their attorney or realtor, because they may be unfamiliar with the property value, so they really don't know what they should be accepting for an offer. So if they do tell you, hey, I need to talk to somebody, it really depends on their tone of their voice and how they say it. Sometimes you can tell the more you do it, you're going to be able to tell it a lot sooner. But, just because somebody says I need to talk to that, you don't have to disqualify them. A couple of things that I'll go over, a few that I would hear as well.
Go ahead.
And so certain ones, like Gabe said, they may want to meet you or meet you at the property, but they're not really even trying to sell it or anything like that. So sometimes it depends if you're texting or calling. If you're texting, you're gonna get a lot more people. All right, Gabe. So let's get into the next topic on what we wanted to go over. Gabe.
So after, maybe you got your first wholesale check, or you have money, what is the first thing that you're going to want to do after that? Are we going to hire a mentor, or are we going to hire a couple of VAs? Josh, what is your take on that?
All right, so let's get right into that. So after you close your first deal, let's just say you made $12,000. So you made $12,000, your first wholesale deal. What do you do next? Do I hire a team of VAs so I can continue my marketing and scale up my marketing a little bit so I don't have to do it? Or would I go out and hire a mentor so they can guide me in the right direction, or potentially buy a course? A very similar course is going to be similar to a mentor, just in a different form. It's already going to be laid out for you, and then you're just going to go out and have to watch the course. What I would do, I would personally hire a mentor, find one that you connect with, or the type of niche that you want to be in, and join their program, join their community, their group, whatever it is in. There's different types of real estate niches out there, so find your niche and what you want to do. There's going to be mentors out there for mobile home investing, for land investings, for land development, for buying multifamily properties and commercial properties. There's going to be other ones for how to raise private money, and just find out what you want to do and find out what you're really good at, and then hire a mentor for whatever you want to pursue. And the one that me and Gabe did, we did a couple of deals, saved up a little bit of money, and then we had bought a course, and it also came with the mentor for 6 months. So after buying that course and getting access to that mentor, definitely changed the game for me and Gabe. Before that, I think we were doing a deal or two, like every maybe 1 or 2 months. Maybe we were averaging about a deal a month or so, where we did a deal this month, we didn't do a deal next month, and then the next month we did a deal, or one or two deals. But that's how it was looking like for me and Gabe before we hired a mentor. And after we hired a mentor, give it a few months that we started marketing, completely changed the game for us. This was last year in 2021, right?
Yes,
and
sir.
yeah, completely changed the game for us. Great market back then too. But, after that, our business definitely exploded and we started doing deals consistently. And so that would be my take. Gabe, what would you do after you had $12,000? Would you hire a mentor or would you get a few VAs, maybe 1, 2, 3 VAs, and would you start marketing, or what would your action steps be after you had $12,000 from your first or your fifth wholesale deal?
Awesome. That's a great question. I'm gonna piggyback off what Josh said, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hire a mentor, because a mentor is gonna be, they're gonna hold you they're not only gonna teach you, they're gonna hold you accountable of what you should and shouldn't be doing. You're gonna learn a lot just from their previous mistakes that they made, because they learned from doing what you're potentially doing right now, and you don't have to go through their mistakes and waste time, money, and that's the biggest of them all. So if you ask me, I'm picking a mentor every time over the VAs.
There you go, right there. Hire yourself a mentor after you do however many deals. Whenever you feel comfortable and you feel like you're stuck, that's usually when the best time to hire a mentor is. Say you've done 3 deals, but now it's been 3 or 5 months since you've done your last deal. That's going to be the perfect time that you're going to need to hire your mentor. They can help you out with some of those roadblocks. Some of them, they may be mental roadblocks, and you're just holding yourself back with limiting beliefs. Other, it may just be, misinformation or misguided so far. And that way the mentor or, whoever's community and group you join, they're going to be able to guide you and, show you, how do I do this? How do I evaluate this type of deal? Whether that's multifamily, commercial, land, houses. And this doesn't only apply to real estate. This lesson can be taken and you could apply it to whatever you're doing, whether that's last week we had talked about, whether that could be knitting,
Selling hot dogs.
I don't know about that. Maybe starting a food truck would be a better one. If you wanted to start your food truck, you can go out there and start your own food truck and learn from all your mistakes. Or I'm sure more than likely with the internet, there's going to be somebody out there who has a food truck course or, what to look out for when starting a food truck. That's definitely going to help you out. You're going to have more knowledge.
Yes.
And be able to apply that information in your business. But don't let this information, overload you and consume you too much to where you're not taking any action. If you watched last week's episode in our outro, we did talk about that. The biggest thing is going to be taking action and staying consistent. So as long as you're doing that and you're applying this lesson, and so whatever you want to do is definitely going to change the game for you. Hiring, the right mentor and the right person to have in your corner. All right, y'all. So that's going to be it for today's episode. We did drop a couple of nuggets on y'all. Some of the questions that you need to be asking these property owners and these land owners when you are trying to qualify and disqualify them.
We also did let you know our take on whether we would hire a mentor or a team of VAs. Let us know what you would do. Drop it in the comments.
And we also wanted to go over our top 3 recommendations on books and a few takeaways that we had from those as well. So comment down below, what are some of your favorite books that you've read? What are some that you're looking forward to reading? And some of your key takeaways as well. We'd definitely love to see what y'all have that y'all have read and would recommend. Definitely want to check out some of those. I do have a few Audible credits that I need to spend anyway. So let us know what books you like to read. But that's going to be it for today's episode. Till next time. Aight.